What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Justin Juju Jackson, and man, I have a special treat for all the movie lovers out there on the channel. And if you're following this channel, if you're subscribed, then you must be a movie lover anyway. And man, 2024 has been it's been a good year for movies, right? All things considered, with the pandemic and everything, the box office is not quite back to its typical strength, given the strikes of last year. And so we've got some hits, we've got some misses in terms of the films that we've gotten this year. But I don't want to focus on the negative. I just want to focus on the positive things and bring you guys my top 10 films of 2024. And before we go to that, cue the intro. All right, everybody, welcome back. Before I get into the review, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, as it helps my channel grow. And so without further ado, let's dive into my top 10 films of 2024. So coming in at number 10, and also my rankings fluctuate with these films every day, but for the purpose of this video, I just threw this together. And so starting off with number 10, we have The Ungentlemanly Art of Warfare, starring my boy Henry Cavill. Man, this film took us on a wild, gritty, action-packed adventure that is historically based, and it's historical fiction based during World War II. It's based off some real mission in World War II, and it was fun. It was action-packed. It had witty dialogue, and it had plenty of plot twists and turns that definitely gave it the leg up to make it onto this list. If you guys are looking for a fresh take on the spy genre, if you're looking for a film that is just gonna take you back to that World War II era, but with fun, with comedy, but with high stakes, this is one that you definitely want to get into. Also, keeping with the trend of espionage and spy films, we have Argyle at number 9. Now, I remember specifically Argyle didn't do that great at the box office, and this is another Henry Cavill movie. And so everyone was talking about Henry Cavill not coming back as Superman. The man he's fine. The man is booked. The man is busy. Henry Cavill appears on another film in this top 10 list, and so he's fine. He's doing great. Love the work that he's doing. But anyway, Argyle featuring Henry Cavill. Who else was in it? I'll put up Bryce Dallas Howard. That's who I was thinking of. Bryce Dallas Howard it's stylish. It's fast paced. It's a thriller. It definitely has its own style, and I love films that have their own style and aren't afraid to do things that traditionally you don't see a lot in different films, and especially a spy film. It was fun. It was funny. Fun in the same way that Ungentlemanly Warfare, but Ungentlemanly Warfare had some incredibly high stakes. Argyle, it had high stakes, but at certain times it was just like, okay, this is fun, especially with the final fight scene, the ice skating. And so this film was directed by Matthew Vaughn, who gave us Kingsman. And so Argyle follows that same high intensity, quickly paced, and just how the fight scenes are shot, I'm definitely a fan of. Kingsman is definitely one of my top film series of all time, just because of how engaging the action is and how fun it is and how it just draws you in. Argyle will keep you hooked from the start to the finish with just some interesting, charismatic characters and, quite frankly, an unpredictable storyline. I'm not in the business of giving out spoilers in this specific list. I just want to recommend them to you so you can go check them out for yourself if you haven't seen them. All right, moving on to number 8, and this is a recent box office release. We have Alien Romulus. Now, just to preface, I'm not a huge fan of the Alien films. They were always just something I would catch if they were on FX. I'm sitting there watching them with my pops. But this one was a good time at the movie theaters. It definitely felt like Alien was getting back to its horror roots with a lot of jump scares and the xenomorphs and all that different type of stuff. And so in this one, we get a return back to the Alien franchise. It's part of that new wave of Alien movies that started with Prometheus and then Alien Covenant, and then you have Alien Romulus. So it feels like they want to update the series and make it current with some awesome action and taking full advantage of the new CGI that we have out in this current day and time. And so the storyline is fresh, and a new generation of characters face off against the xenomorphs. Romulus is most definitely a thrilling ride that keeps us casual viewers and also fans of the series on the edge of your seats the entire time. And I just want to emphasize again, I'm not a huge fan of the Alien franchise. I saw Romulus. I saw Prometheus. I saw Covenant. And I felt like, hey, I'm obligated to see this. And it was worth my time. Worth a ticket. It came in at number 8 on this list. And so definitely recommend you seeing that this weekend if you can, while it's still in box office, and see it on an IMAX screen. I know that IMAX screens are limited because Deadpool and Wolverine is still circulating, but definitely try to take advantage of a IMAX screening if you can. All right, now we're moving on to number 6 in this list, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. We're back. Like how we returned to the Alien franchise, we're back to another classic franchise, Planet of the Apes. But this one is kind of a reboot continuation of the Planet of the Apes franchise. And it definitely did not disappoint. The CGI was on point. It had great, deep storytelling, like I said, with the CGI, and a gripping narrative that explores the evolving dynamics between humans and apes after the time of Caesar. And so you get plopped back into the world. You don't really have to know much about Caesar. You don't really have to know much about that franchise, but it definitely draws you in and kind of picks up where we left off with the humans. It's like I said earlier, it's visually stunning and it's emotionally resonant, and it stays with you. I thought about this film a lot. I have several videos about it on this channel right now. And I felt like, okay, where else do we go from here? It's kind of obvious what they're setting up, but I just wanted to hurry. I want to get to the next film, because this one was a good intro, but I feel like the second one is gonna build on that steam and deliver. All right, coming in. Oh wow, I missed number 7. How did I do that? Number 7 on the list is Furiosa. Furiosa is a controversial pick on this list just because the movie poorly underperformed at the box office, regardless of the fact that it's actually a great movie. It's a prequel to the Mad Max Fury Road saga, and this film dives into the backstory of the main character of the last Mad Max, outside of Mad Max, Furiosa. She's definitely one of the most badass characters in modern times. And with George Miller back as the director, the story delves into stunning visuals, epic action, and a narrative that explores the harsh realities of Furiosa's world and her upbringing. If you loved Fury Road, Furiosa, you should give it a watch. Is it a must watch? I don't really think so, because it, quite frankly, has nothing to do with the last one, except it just kind of shows you how we got to Furiosa. If you care about Furiosa, if you care about the work that Charlize Theron did on that character, then you can appreciate what Anya Taylor-Joy does here in Furiosa. And so definitely a plug for Furiosa. You can't see it in IMAX anymore. I saw it on IMAX when it came out. I was delighted with it. It was a nice, cool, wild ride. And so definitely watch that. I think you can hit it up on Amazon. I think that's on one of those streaming services, but definitely check that out. Okay, that was 7. I did 6, which is Kingdom of Planet of the Apes before 7. My bad, y'all. But coming in at number 5, we've got Bad Boys, Ride or Die. This was the film that saved cinema. Okay, it saved movies, it saved cinema with its box office. This one was the next box office hit after the disappointment of Furiosa, and people didn't know what exactly was going to go on. This is also kind of what people were saying is a make or break moment in Will Smith's career. I knew it wasn't because I love Will Smith, and I know a lot of people love Will Smith as well. And off of the black community's back alone, he could finance the rest of his career if he really needed to. But Bad Boys, Ride or Die, for me, it's number 2 in the series. It's Bad Boys 2, Bad Boys, Ride or Die, Bad Boys, and then Bad Boys for Life. That last one was like, and it wasn't the 4th Bad Boys. It was the 3rd. For Life, they could have used it for. Anyway, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, once again, bringing back their classic chemistry and taking it to the next level. This movie was a perfect blend of action, comedy, and humor and heart. And it was great to see the Bad Boys back in action, at least for one more time. I think we're going to get another one, but that's just me. I think this is like, since Bad Boys for Life, it's kind of like a new trilogy in Bad Boys. And so I hope it's like, they give us another one because this one did so well. So if you're a fan of the series, if you're a fan of Will Smith, if you're a fan of Martin Lawrence, if you're a fan of action, if you're a fan of comedy, if you're a fan of melding all those things together, then you'll love Bad Boys, Ride or Die. All right. That was number 5. We're getting closer to the top of the top, the creme de la creme, at least my favorites of the year. We have another recent release here at number 4. We have Twisters. Yes, Twisters. This is technically a sequel to the 1996 classic Twister movie that brought the storm-chasing genre into the modern era with cutting-edge special effects and a story that's both thrilling and emotional. Twisters, it's technically a sequel, like I mentioned earlier, but it didn't really feel like one. It felt like its own thing, its own jive, its own moving and grooving. I really did enjoy this film. I love Glenn Powell. I think he is definitely one of Hollywood's most talented actors out right now. Of course, you have when you have that conversation about Hollywood's hottest young actors, you have Zendaya pop up, you have Sydney Sweeney, you have Glenn Powell, you have Anthony Ramos, you have Dominique Fishback, you got Damson Idris. A lot of great young actors that are picking up the slack where you have Denzel, Idris, Angela Bassett, you have Meryl Streep, Scarlett Johansson, RDJ, all these great actors out front. But then there's a generation coming behind that is just as competent, just as great, and are just as good as leading these films. But back to Twisters. The visuals in Twisters, chef's kiss, and the tension is very similar to the 1996 classic. And you guys, this film doesn't disappoint. Also, the soundtrack, I'm not a big country fan, but I was pleasantly surprised with the country soundtrack, and I think you will be too. All right. Number 3 on my list is Challengers. Yeah, Challengers. My girl Zendaya, her first leading lady role, being the leading lady. And so Challengers feels more like an indie film. It did have a decent budget. It being a tennis film, it's kind of like, okay, they had a decent budget, which is great. I think, it's Sony and it's Zendaya. Sony and Zendaya go together like, rice and peas. And so the intense drama is set in the world of professional tennis and was a real standout from this year, with incredible performances from Zendaya. The story dives deep into the world of competitive but sometimes cutthroat nature of the sport of tennis. Challengers was gripping to watch from the start to the finish. You didn't know where it was going to finish because it just kind of stopped. After that sequence, it stopped. It was like, oh, okay, that's a fitting ending. And so the film's exploration of ambition, rivalry, and personal sacrifice really hit the nose, at least for a former athlete like myself. The dynamic, we're not going to sit here and act like the dynamic in Challengers was not a bit odd and a bit weird. in a bit LGBT coded, but that is okay, and it performed well at the box office. And it's Zendaya. It's like, a winning recipe. Number two on my list. Also another recent release, and definitely one you saw coming if you're a Marvel fan like myself. It is Deadpool and Wolverine. This film is amazing, and it culminates and puts a nice cherry on top of the Fox X-Men universe. The Merc with a Mouth teams up with Logan, our favorite Wolverine, and it's everything you could have hoped for and more. The movie is packed with humor and action that melding together, like I talked about earlier with the Bad Boys, and it's an irreverence you could expect from Deadpool. It's gritty and it's very intense, and Hugh Jackman just plays off of that brilliantly and brings Wolverine into, the 2020s. It's a superhero movie, guys, at the end of the day, and it doesn't abide by a lot of those rules. It is very funny. It's very much a rated R film, but it needs it. It needs it for it to be as successful as it is. And I've loved every second of it, and it's doing absolute numbers at the box office. I think it's already made $1 billion. And so I could see it easing its way on into 2 as it opens more internationally. And it's a Marvel film. Every time a Marvel film comes out, people say, is the MCU back? Is the MCU back? Is the MCU back? The MCU never left. Quite frankly, it never left. If you've been a fan of the MCU since 2008 or before, like me, if you saw Elektra, if you bought Elektra on DVD in 2005 or 7, I think it came out in 2007. If you were in the trenches, in the Daredevil trenches, right? We're not talking about Spider-Man, because everyone loved Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. I'm talking about the offshoots that Marvel tried to do after the fact. If you were in those trenches, you love the MCU. Anything that the MCU puts out, for the most part, you're going to love it. Why? Because you love the characters. You love seeing the characters brought to life by people who actually care about the characters. Could people disagree about the execution of said characters? Sure, we can have debate, but I know a world where the superhero film genre was not given all its respect and not given its proper budget. And now I'm seeing things that I could only see in a comic book being brought to life at all times. If you watch Loki, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, right? If you watched Guardians 3, if you watched a lot of different things, then in the MCU, then the MCU never left. It just really took, it went back into its development, into its building phase to get to the next peak. But guys, just have realistic expectations when it comes to building a universe and building a world. It's not going to be peak. Because if it's peak, then where do we get to appreciate the true peak? Like, we went through The Incredible Hulk. We went through Thor 2. We went through these different things so we could appreciate Avengers. We went through Age of Ultron, right? We went through Ant-Man. We went through these different films so we could appreciate Civil War. We went through Iron Man 3. We went through different films so we could appreciate Infinity War and Endgame. So yeah, we're going to go through films like Black Widow, like Eternals, like things that are more niche and not has that broad appeal, so we can appreciate Avengers. Now it's Doomsday. It was Kang's Conquest, Kang's Dynasty, but now it's Doomsday. We have to appreciate the peaks in the Marvel Universe. All right. Now you would have thought, man, you're a Marvel fan. Why wasn't that number 1? Well, simply because there was a better film that came out this year, and that is Dune Part 2. I saw this film 3 times in IMAX. If that gives you any context to how awesome this is to witness. And it's a no-brainer. Timothée Chalamet, okay? Zendaya, okay? That's it. That's the story. Of course, there were more actors that made it, what it is, but that's it. This movie is a masterpiece in every sense of the word. Denis Villeneuve, oh gosh, I butchered that. Denis Villeneuve, he's done it again. He's delivered an epic, I wouldn't call it a conclusion because we know there's more Dune to tell, but what began in 2021's Dune, I can say that he did it justice, and it is better in my opinion. The visuals, breathtaking. Performances, top notch. Writing, on point. And the storytelling, nothing short of being epic. Dune Part 2 is everything I wanted to see and more in 2024's box office, and it is easily my top film of 2024. So there you have it, folks. These are my top 10 films of 2024 so far. The year is not over yet, and something could come out that could creep into my top 10. You know what I'm saying? The last two spots, might be taken. I feel like my top 8 are solid, but who knows what else might come out. So there you. Oh wait. Wicked comes out, y'all. Gladiator 2 comes out. Things could change. That's all I'm saying. Things could change. But let me know in the comments what movies made your list so far in 2024. And don't forget to like, comment, and share this video. Make sure you subscribe. If you enjoyed it, please interact with me. Lord knows I need it. And thank you for watching. This is a Juju Writes production. Keep it locked.